thought I'd become that husband. You know the type. The one who checks phones, questions late nights, sees shadows where there's only light. But here I was, standing in our bedroom at 2 a.m., holding my wife's laptop like it was a grenade with the pin already pulled. Sarah had been busy with work for 3 months straight. At first I believed her. She'd just made senior marketing director at Henderson & Associates, and I knew the position demanded more. I was proud of her. I picked up the slack at home, handled our daughter Emma's school runs, meal prepped on Sundays so Sarah wouldn't have to worry about dinner. I was being supportive. I was being a good husband. But then came the small things. The way she angled her phone away when texting, how she started showering immediately after coming home, even on days she worked from the home office. The new lingerie I found in her drawer, tags still on, never worn for me. And the perfume. Sarah hated strong perfumes, always said they gave her headaches. Yet now our bedroom smelled like a department store counter. You're being paranoid, Marcus, I told myself every single time doubt crept in. She's just stressed. She's just tired. She's just busy. Tonight she'd fallen asleep on the couch after 2 glasses of wine, unusual for her. Her laptop sat open on the coffee table, screen still glowing. I'd only meant to close it, save the battery. That's what I told myself as I sat down. That's the lie I was telling myself even as my fingers moved to the trackpad. Her email was open. The inbox was mostly work stuff. Client meetings, campaign proposals, budget reviews. Normal. See, I was being ridiculous. I was about to close it when I noticed the folder structure on the side. Work, personal, family, and then almost hidden at the bottom, Project Venus. Project Venus. We didn't have a client called Venus. I knew all her major accounts. My hand was shaking as I clicked it. The folder opened to reveal a chain of emails, all between Sarah and someone named D. No last name, no signature, just D. The subject lines alone made my stomach drop. Thursday was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. When can we meet again? I didn't want to open them. God, I didn't want to. But my hand moved anyway, clicking the most recent one, dated just yesterday. Sarah, I can't do this anymore. 3 months of stolen hours in hotel rooms. I want more. I want to wake up next to you. I want to take you to dinner without looking over my shoulder. When are you going to tell him? You said you would. You promised. I love you, but I'm not going to be your secret forever. D. The world tilted. The room spun. I read it again and again. Each word was a knife between my ribs. I scrolled up, reading backwards through their affair in reverse. 3 months. It had been going on for exactly 3 months, since the week she got her promotion. There were details I didn't want to know but couldn't stop reading. The Marriott downtown. Thursday afternoons when she said she had client meetings. That weekend conference in Boston where she'd actually been with him at some bed and breakfast. My wife, my Sarah, the woman who'd promised forever 13 years ago. The mother of my child. I heard movement behind me. My whole body went rigid. Marcus, what are you doing up? Sarah's voice was thick with sleep. I didn't turn around. Couldn't turn around. If I looked at her now, I didn't know what I'd do, what I'd say, what I'd become. Go back to sleep, I managed, my voice surprisingly steady. Is that my laptop? Marcus, are you? She stopped mid-sentence. I could feel the exact moment she realized what was on the screen. The air in the room changed, became electric with panic and guilt. Marcus, I can explain. Don't. The word came out sharp. Final. Don't say another word right now. Please, just let me. I closed the laptop with a soft click and stood up, finally turning to face her. She looked small in her pajamas, her hair messy from the couch, mascara smudged under her eyes. 3 months ago, I would have thought she looked beautiful like this. Vulnerable, human, real. Now all I saw was a stranger wearing my wife's face. How long? I asked, even though I already knew. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Marcus, please. How long has Dee been making you happy in ways I apparently couldn't? She flinched like I'd slapped her. Good. I wanted her to hurt. I wanted her to feel even a fraction of the pain currently tearing through my chest. It's not like that, she whispered. Then what's it like, Sarah? Explain it to me. Make me understand how my wife of 13 years ends up in hotel rooms with another man while I'm at home raising our daughter and believing every single lie you fed me. She opened her mouth to respond, but nothing came out. What could she possibly say? I walked past her toward the stairs, my legs moving on autopilot. Where are you going? Her voice cracked. I paused on the first step, gripping the railing so hard my knuckles went white. To the guest room. And tomorrow you're going to tell me everything, every detail, every lie, every moment you chose him over us. And then, I took a shaky breath, then we'll figure out what comes next. I didn't wait for her response. I climbed the stairs and locked myself in the guest room, finally letting the tears come as I heard her collapse into sobs in the living room below. My marriage was over, but this story was just beginning. I didn't sleep. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. Sarah and this D person laughing in hotel rooms, sharing intimate moments that should have been mine. By the time dawn broke, I'd cycled through every emotion possible. Rage, grief, betrayal, and underneath it all, a cold, calculating anger that scared me with its intensity. At 6 a.m., I heard Emma's door open. My daughter. God, Emma. How was I supposed to look at her knowing her family was falling apart? I forced myself up, splashed water on my face, and went through the motions of making breakfast. Emma bounced into the kitchen, oblivious, chattering about her upcoming field trip. Sarah appeared in the doorway, looking like she hadn't slept either, her eyes red and swollen. "Morning, Mommy," Emma chirped. "Morning, baby." Sarah's voice was hoarse. Our eyes met across the kitchen, and I saw fear there. She should be afraid. I got Emma off to school, maintaining the facade, playing the role of normal dad on a normal morning. The second the bus pulled away, I turned to find Sarah standing in the driveway behind me. "We need to talk," she said. Inside, we sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we'd shared thousands of meals, made plans, laughed together. Now it felt like a battlefield. "Tell me everything," I said flatly. "Start at the beginning. And Sarah, if I find out you're still lying, we're done. No discussion, no marriage counseling, just done." She nodded, tears already streaming. "His name is Daniel. He's a creative director at a partner agency. We met at a joint campaign launch 3 months ago. It started as just conversation. He was charming and funny, and he made me feel what? Seen." She looked down at her hands. "I know how that sounds. You're an amazing husband, Marcus. You are. But somewhere along the way, we became roommates, co-parents. I felt invisible. When was the last time we went on a date? Really talked about something other than Emma's schedule, or bills, or whose turn it was to do laundry. So it's my fault?" The anger flared hot. "I didn't give you enough attention, so you went and—" "No, that's not what I'm saying. There's no excuse. I made a choice. A terrible, selfish choice." She wiped her eyes. "It started as texts, then coffee meetings, then more. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that it was just an escape. But then I fell for him. And I kept lying to you, and it got easier every time. And I convinced myself that I could have both my family and this thing that made me feel alive again." "Where did you meet?" "The Marriott mostly. Sometimes the Hyatt on 5th Street. That Boston conference was real, but I extended it 2 days to be with him." Every word was a fresh wound. "Did you love him?" She hesitated. "Fatal mistake. Do you love him?" I corrected, present tense, and watched her face crumble. "I don't know. I thought I did. But Marcus, I love you. I love our family. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This is betrayal. This is choosing to destroy everything we built over and over for 3 months straight. I'm sorry. God, Marcus, I'm so sorry. Does he know about me, about Emma?" "Yes, he knows I'm married, and he's okay with that." "What kind of man knowingly sleeps with someone's wife?" Sarah didn't answer, which was answer enough. I stood abruptly pacing. "You said in his email he wants more. That you promised to tell me. Were you planning to leave? Leave Emma and me for this guy?" "No. I don't know. I was confused. He was pressuring me, and I kept putting him off." "How considerate of you." The sarcasm dripped like acid. "So what now, Sarah? What did you think would happen when I found out?" "Because that email made it clear he's done being your dirty secret. I'll end it, today, right now. I'll call him and tell him it's over." "Oh, you'll end it?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Not because you want to, but because you got caught." "That's not. Does anyone else know? Your friends? Your mother?" "No, nobody knows." "Good." An idea was forming in my mind, cold and clear. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to work today like normal. You're not going to tell anyone, not Daniel, not your friends, nobody, that I know. You're going to act like everything is fine." She looked confused. "Why?" "Because I need time to think. And because if I decide to blow up your life the way you've blown up mine, I want to do it on my terms, not yours." "Marcus, please. Did you think about me?" I cut her off, my voice breaking despite my best efforts. "Even once? While you were with him, did you think about me at home, taking care of our daughter, trusting you, loving you?" Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. Every time, the guilt was eating me alive. Not enough to stop, though. She had no answer to that. I grabbed my keys. "I'm going for a drive. When I get back, I want you to have a list. Every single time you were with him, every lie you told, every detail. If we're going to fix this, and that's a massive if, I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Where are you going?" "Out, away from you." I left her crying at the table and drove aimlessly for hours. But I wasn't just processing my pain, I was planning. Sarah wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Fine. But there would be consequences. Real consequences. I pulled into a parking lot and opened my phone. First I took screenshots of every email in that Project Venus folder. Then I started researching divorce lawyers, forensic accountants, and private investigators. If Sarah thought this was over just because she got caught, she was wrong. But I needed more. I needed to know who Daniel was, what kind of man he was. I needed leverage. It took me 20 minutes to find him. Daniel Rivera, creative director at Fusion Creative Agency. I scrolled through his social media. He was younger than me by about 5 years, more stylish, with that carefully cultivated creative professional look. His Instagram was full of trendy restaurants and rooftop bars. And there, buried in his post from 6 weeks ago, a photo of a hand holding champagne against a city skyline. A woman's hand, with a very familiar bracelet, the one I'd given Sarah for our anniversary 2 years ago. The caption, "Best view in the city, better company." Blessed. My hands shook with rage. He'd posted about his affair with my wife, publicly, arrogantly. I took a screenshot of that too. Then I noticed something interesting in his profile. Proud husband to @Jessica Rivera, father to twins. I clicked through. Daniel Rivera was married, with 5-year-old twin boys. My phone rang. "Sarah, Marcus, please come home. We need to talk about this. I'll do anything, counseling, therapy, whatever it takes. Please, I'll be home soon," I said calmly. "Oh, and Sarah, does Daniel's wife Jessica know about you too?" Silence. That's what I thought. I hung up. I had everything I needed now. Sarah had destroyed our marriage, and Daniel had helped her do it, while lying to his own wife. They both deserved to understand what they'd done. They both deserved to lose something, but I wouldn't act in anger. I wouldn't be reckless. No, my revenge would be calculated, methodical, and absolutely devastating. As I drove home, I called my brother Mike, a corporate attorney. "Mike, I need advice. Hypothetically, if someone discovered their spouse was having an affair, what would be the smartest way to protect themselves legally and financially?" "Marcus, what's going on? Just answer the question," he sighed. "Document everything. Don't let them know you know if you can help it. Gather evidence. And whatever you do, don't do anything stupid that could hurt you in divorce proceedings. Thanks, Mike." Marcus. I hung up and pulled into my driveway. Sarah's car was there. Good, we had a lot to discuss. I walked in to find her at the kitchen table, a handwritten list in front of her. She looked up at me with desperate hope in her eyes. I wrote everything down, every date, every lie. "Marcus, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to fix this. I'll quit my job, cut off all contact with him, go to counseling every day if I have to." "That's nice." I sat down across from her, my voice eerily calm. "But first I have a question. Does Daniel's wife Jessica know he's been sleeping with you?" Her face went white. "What? Daniel Rivera, married to Jessica, father of twin boys. Ring any bells? He told me he was divorced." I actually laughed at that. "Oh, Sarah, you really are naive, aren't you? Let me guess. He said his wife didn't understand him? That he was planning to leave her anyway? That you were special?" She looked like she might be sick. "I did some research today." I continued conversationally. "Daniel's quite the photographer. He posted a picture of your anniversary bracelet on Instagram 6 weeks ago. Best view in the city, better company. Really rubbed his affair in everyone's face, didn't he? Or did you think that was romantic?" "Marcus, I didn't know he was still married. He said he lied. Just like you lied. Turns out you two are perfect for each other." I leaned back in my chair. "Here's what's interesting though. Jessica doesn't know, which means Daniel's been playing both of you. Tell me, does that make you feel special, chosen, or does it make you realize you're just another conquest?" Tears were streaming down her face now, but I felt nothing. The man I'd been yesterday, the one who would comfort her, who would hurt when she hurt, he was gone. "So here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to go to work tomorrow and break it off with Daniel. You're going to tell him it was a mistake, that you love your husband, and that you never want to see him again. You're going to be convincing, and then you're going to come home and continue being the perfect wife while I decide whether this marriage is worth saving. Okay, yes, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want. And Sarah, if I find out you're still in contact with him in any way, a text, an email, a smoke signal, I'm going to send every one of these emails to Jessica, to your boss, to your mother, and to anyone else who should know what kind of person you really are." She nodded frantically. "I understand. I'll end it. I promise." I stood up. "I'm sleeping in the guest room. Don't bother me tonight." As I walked away, I heard her whisper, "I love you." I didn't respond. Because the truth was, I didn't know if I loved her anymore. And more importantly, I didn't know if I even wanted to. But I did know one thing. If this marriage was ending, it would end on my terms. Sarah had made her choices. Now she was going to live with the consequences. And so was Daniel. 2 weeks had passed since Discovery Night, and I'd played my role perfectly. To everyone around us, I was the supportive husband, maybe a bit quiet, maybe a bit distant, but that was understandable. Work stress, everyone assumed. Sarah had broken things off with Daniel, or so she claimed. I'd watched her type the message, watched her block his number, watched her delete their email chain. She thought that was the end of it. She actually believed we were on the road to recovery. She had no idea what was coming. I'd spent those 2 weeks gathering everything I needed. The private investigator I'd hired confirmed Daniel was indeed still married. living with Jessica and their twins in a nice suburban house 40 minutes away. He'd also discovered something interesting. Daniel had done this before, 2 other affairs in the past 3 years, both with married colleagues. The man was a serial cheater. I'd also consulted with 3 different divorce attorneys, reviewed our finances with a forensic accountant, and documented every lie Sarah had told. I had dates, times, hotel receipts I'd recovered from our credit card statements that she'd thought she'd hidden. I had screenshots of Daniel's social media posts. I had everything. But the revenge I had planned was bigger than just divorce. Sarah and Daniel had betrayed their families without consequence, had lied and manipulated while patting themselves on the back for being so clever. They needed to understand what they'd done. They needed to feel it. It was a Thursday afternoon, fitting since Thursdays had been their day, when I set everything in motion. First, I sent an email to Jessica Rivera. It was kind but direct. Mrs. Rivera, you don't know me, but I believe our spouses have been having an affair. I've attached evidence. I thought you deserved to know. I'm sorry to be the bearer of this news. Marcus Henderson. I included screenshots of the emails, photos showing Sarah's bracelet in Daniel's Instagram post, and hotel receipts with both their names. Then I called Sarah's boss, Richard Henderson, who happened to be a close friend from college. I'd already had lunch with him earlier that week, just catching up, where I'd casually mentioned concerns about Sarah's working relationship with Daniel Rivera at Fusion Creative. I'd planted seeds, nothing accusatory, just concern that maybe their professional partnership had become too close, that maybe it was affecting her judgment on the joint campaign they were managing. Now, I sent him the same evidence package with a note. Rich, I'm sorry to bring this to you, but I thought you should know that Sarah and Daniel's partnership has crossed professional boundaries. This is affecting not just my family, but potentially the reputation of your firm. I trust you'll handle this appropriately. I knew Rich. He'd been burned by an office affair scandal 5 years ago that nearly cost him a major client. He had zero tolerance for this kind of thing, especially when it involved partner agencies and could damage professional relationships. Then came the part I'd agonized over most. I called Sarah's mother. Hi, Patricia. It's Marcus. I need to talk to you about something serious. 30 minutes later, Patricia knew everything. She was devastated. Sarah had always been her golden child, could do no wrong. Learning the truth shattered that image. What are you going to do? Patricia asked, her voice shaking. I'm going to give her a choice, I said. She can either admit what she's done publicly and take responsibility, or I will. But either way, the truth is coming out. I'm done protecting her from the consequences of her actions. Marcus, please think about Emma. I am thinking about Emma. I'm thinking about what kind of example we're setting if we teach her that betrayal and lies can be swept under the rug without consequence. Emma deserves parents who have integrity. That evening, Sarah came home from work looking panicked. Marcus, something's happening. Richard called me into his office. He asked about my relationship with Daniel. Did you? Sit down, Sarah. She saw my face and went pale. What did you do? I told the truth. To Richard, to Daniel's wife, to your mother. The truth you've been so desperate to hide. You what? She was on her feet shaking. How could you? You said you wouldn't tell anyone. You promised. No, I said if you stayed in contact with Daniel, I'd tell everyone. But I've realized something over these past 2 weeks. Whether you're in contact with him or not doesn't change what you did. It doesn't change the betrayal, and it doesn't change the fact that you only stopped because you got caught. But my job, my career, Richard will fire me. Maybe he will. Maybe that's what happens when you have an affair with a business partner. Actions have consequences, Sarah. And Daniel, you told his wife? Jessica deserved to know her husband is a serial cheater, just like I deserved to know mine was an adulterer. Funny how that works. She was crying now, but they were angry tears, not remorseful ones. You've destroyed everything. My career, my reputation, my relationships. No, I cut her off firmly. You destroyed everything. You made these choices. I just made sure you couldn't hide from them anymore. What about Emma? Did you think about her? How she'll be affected when her friends' parents find out? When this becomes gossip? I've thought about nothing but Emma for 2 weeks. I've thought about what kind of man I want her to marry someday. I've thought about what kind of woman I want her to become. And I realized that staying silent, pretending this didn't happen, teaching her that betrayal can be swept away with apologies, that would damage her far more than the temporary embarrassment of people knowing her mother made a mistake. My phone buzzed. A text from Rich. We need to talk tomorrow. This is serious. Another text from Jessica Rivera. Thank you for telling me. I'm filing for divorce. Daniel admitted everything. I showed Sarah both messages. She collapsed onto the couch, her face in her hands. It's over. She whispered, everything is over. Yes, I agreed. Your affair is over. Your lies are over. Your consequence-free life is over. But Sarah, this isn't me being cruel. This is me refusing to be your accomplice in covering up what you did. So what happens now? She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Divorce? I'd thought a lot about this. Part of me wanted to end it immediately, to walk away and never look back. But there was Emma to consider, and there was the reality that despite everything, I'd loved this woman for 13 years. I don't know yet, I admitted. I've talked to lawyers. I've protected myself financially. If we divorce, it will be on terms that are fair to me and Emma, not terms that let you walk away like nothing happened. I don't want a divorce, she said desperately. I want to fix this. I want our family back. Then you're going to have to earn it. Real therapy, not just going through the motions. Complete transparency. Phone, emails, passwords, everything. Rebuilding trust from absolute zero and accepting that there will be consequences you can't avoid. I'll do it. Anything. We'll see. I headed toward the stairs, then paused. Sarah, the difference between us is that I kept my vows even when things got hard, even when I felt invisible, even when I was tempted to look elsewhere. You didn't. And that's something you're going to have to live with, whether we stay married or not. The next few weeks were brutal for Sarah. Richard demoted her and dissolved the partnership with Fusion Creative. Daniel was fired after Jessica shared everything with his firm's executives. Sarah's friends found out. Some remained loyal, others distanced themselves. Her mother barely spoke to her. Through it all, Sarah fought to save our marriage. Real effort this time. Real remorse. She started individual therapy and begged me to join couples counseling. She wrote me letters, long, detailed accounts of how she'd justified her actions, how she'd lied to herself, how she'd thrown away everything for someone who'd lied to her too. And slowly, painfully, we began to talk. Real conversations about what had broken between us, about how we'd both become complacent, about how she'd chosen the worst possible way to address her unhappiness. I didn't forgive her. Maybe not ever. Not completely. But I agreed to try. For Emma's sake, and for the memory of who we used to be. The real victory wasn't in the revenge, though. It wasn't in watching Sarah lose her job, or Daniel lose his marriage. The real victory was in reclaiming my self-respect, in refusing to be the man who quietly accepted betrayal, in teaching Emma, through my actions, that you don't have to destroy yourself to maintain peace. 6 months later, we were still together, still in therapy, still rebuilding. Sarah had found a new job at a smaller firm. She'd cut ties with everyone from her old life. She was genuinely trying to be worthy of a second chance. I didn't know if we'd make it. Some days I looked at her and saw the woman I'd married. Other days I saw the stranger who'd betrayed me. But I was no longer the naive husband who trusted blindly. I was a man who'd looked betrayal in the face and decided that my worth wasn't determined by someone else's choices. And Sarah, she lived every day knowing that her moment of weakness had cost her everything she'd built. Her career was damaged. Her relationships were fractured. Her reputation was tarnished. But more than that, she'd lost the easy love we'd once had, replacing it with something harder won and more fragile. I told her that sometimes adults make mistakes, and fixing mistakes is hard work. She seemed to accept that. One evening I found Sarah on the back porch, staring at nothing. "Do you regret it?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. Every single day, every single moment. I threw away 13 years of love for 3 months of fantasy. I destroyed the one person who'd always been there for me. I damaged our daughter's sense of security. And for what? For a man who lied to me as easily as I lied to you. Then why did you do it? Because I was selfish. Because I convinced myself I deserved to feel special. Because it was easy and exciting. And let me pretend I was someone other than a tired wife and mother. She looked at me with genuine anguish. But Marcus, that exciting person I thought I was discovering? She doesn't exist. She was just a liar, a coward, someone who took the easy way out instead of fighting for her marriage. I nodded slowly. I'm glad you understand that now. Do you think you'll ever really forgive me? I thought about it carefully. I don't know, but I'm willing to try to build something new. Not what we had before, that's gone. But maybe something honest and real. That's more than I deserve. Probably, but Emma deserves parents who try. So we try. We sat in silence as the sun set. Our marriage would never be the same. The trust was shattered, the innocence gone. But from the broken pieces, we might build something stronger, not despite the betrayal, but because we'd both learned what it took to truly value what we had. Sarah had wanted excitement and got devastation. Daniel had wanted a conquest and lost his family. And I had wanted revenge and gotten something better, my self-respect, and a chance to rebuild on my own terms. In the end, that was the real victory. Not in their suffering, but in my refusal to suffer silently. Not in destroying them, but in refusing to let their choices destroy me. And as we sat there together, both changed irrevocably by what had happened, I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't about making others hurt. It's about refusing to let their actions diminish your worth. It's about standing up and saying, I deserved better, I demanded better, and now I'm building better. That was a revenge worth having.